Welcome back to the show, y'all. This is Something in Common. I'm Blackberry.
I'm Nino.
And today we're going to be talking about the end of an era, the end of a time. 29, we're pushing 30.
Yeah, it's like I could see it around the corner.
Yeah, it's coming up quickly.
For some of us.
I remember just being, there's that Beyonce song, time really moves fast, you were just 16.
Mm-hmm.
I sound just like her, right? Yeah, so we're turning 30 and we wanted to talk about it.
That took a left field.
That's not a left turn. The people know how old you are.
No, yeah, but you were like, we're turning 30. Like, it's not, I just got here, so
by the
it's
time
not.
this comes out, I will have 6 more months to my birthday.
You will, not me. So.
What's 8 months versus 6? The same thing.
No. If you have a baby at 6 months, it's not going to go well.
My mama got pregnant before yours did. What's the difference?
Well, that's not my fault.
This is our last episode here. First of all, how do you feel about the podcast and what we've been able to talk about?
It almost feels like we've had good conversations, but it feels so weird, even though like I know no one's watching yet.
Yeah.
Like I think just the fact that the camera's on, it feels so invasive almost.
Yeah.
Like it feels like this is a lot of work, more than I thought it would be in terms of like being able to talk about things. I will say there's a couple episodes I won't spoil that I've felt more like we've had a safer space, like if we were just on the phone versus like just talking because we know there's a camera there. Yeah.
I think this has been great. This is very different for me. Would
you do more videos in the future like that?
Like, what do you mean?
Like how we're doing now?
Like in the way that we've shot this? Yeah, that's actually what I would prefer. But, yeah. If you guys watch my other podcast, it's a little different. It's raunchier. It's like less serious.
He told me to bring my Mr. Rogers cardigan.
What is that?
You don't know who Mr. Rogers is?
Mr. Rogers, like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? But what about...
Like, be proper.
I did not tell you. Girl,
yeah,
I told you to do what the fuck you want to do. Yeah, so I'm happy about what we've been able to talk about, and I hope you guys have found something in common with us. Ding, 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 ringing a bell. But today we're going to be talking about turning 30 soon.
First of all, that was not... He's totally going off script because it was not... The title is 29. Yeah. It's not turning 30. So I don't know why we're
29, what comes after 29?
Well, okay. Can we bask in 29 first?
Okay, and let's then talk about it. How do you feel about being 29?
I really like it. I feel...
I can't tell. You have so much aversion to 30. I don't know.
Well, because 29 is still in the 20s. I got to I got to do what I can with what I got. No, I honestly love... I don't know. I think I've had a really great run in my 20s. I think my I thought you was
about to say your 40s. I was like, whoa.
No. My reservations are just sort of like I don't know what the word is. I don't know what to use with it. But the only reason I feel some type of way about like 30 is because the fear of not having the juice, but then also like everyone always says, oh, your life gets so much better when you turn 30 and everything is great when you're 30. And I'm like, but I didn't have a bad 20s. Like, so that is the only thing that scares me. Like, did I use all of the juice for the 20s? Like, was I supposed to not use it? But actually, I met someone who is now dating my best friend. And he's like, how old are you? And I told him, I was like, oh, I'm 25. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah, you still got a lot. And then my friend looked at me and he's like, tell him how old you really are. And I was like, I'm 29. He's like, oh, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. He's like, you're about to get into your 30s soon. It's going to be the best, time of your life. And I told him the same thing I just said now. And he was like, well, then they're going to be even better. Like, why do you feel like it needs to go south? And I was just like, yeah. So I've been trying to unpack that for a while now.
I'd love for you to do that.
And I haven't gotten there yet, which is why I don't know, but I'm not sad about it, like in that sense. I hope that I'm able to do as much as I did in my 30s, if not more than I did in my 20s, because I feel like I did a lot.
Yeah, I did much of nothing in my 20s. And I don't really feel sad about that, but I mean, I do wish I would have done more. No regrets, but it's just like,
what would you have done?
traveled, had way more sex. Like, I'm talking about, I probably should have been fucking 5 times a week.
You still don't do it. So.
I still don't do it. So lots more sex, lots more traveling, lots more like love. Because, you know, I was the last 5 years of my life, I haven't really dated anybody. Like, you know, little one-offs, but like nothing for real.
Nothing serious.
So I probably would have experienced.
Well, why don't you just start doing that then?
Yeah, but
well, I will say
we talked about that. Like, I just have to.
But if you don't start now, nothing's gonna change from now to the time you turn 30.
What did Dua Lipa say? Don't start now.
I don't know what that white lady says. I don't listen to her.
Queen of Pop.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I definitely would have done more things that they say you should do in your 20s. Actually, my boss told me, he was like, when I told him I was traveling, he was like, that's good, you're young, you should be out doing more stuff. Because he asked me all the time, like, what are you doing this weekend? And I always say nothing. And he's like always flabbergasted. And I'm like, but it's different coming from somebody who's like older. He's like probably like in his early to mid 40s or something. I'm assuming, because he has like kids and a wife and like a full career and stuff like that. It's different hearing older people tell you like you should be living your life, because they already know what that's like.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to like.
How has it been to have a friend like me, who is like hard to pin down? Like seeing that.
I mean, I think it's hot for you. Like, I think that's
like,
great.
Not in that sense. Like, I'm talking about like, do you have similar thoughts in the sense of like, you know how you hear older people like, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Like, do you have thoughts like you should be doing that or you shouldn't be doing that, or like X, Y, and Z? Like, do you have that mental thing?
For you?
I use me as an example because there's friends that I have that are like always doing something, and I feel like I'm already always doing something, but like there's times where I'm like, I should do that, or I should look into that, or I should be, you know what I mean? Not like in a competitive way, but like, how can I do that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I don't look at it like that. I don't really compare my life to others. I just look
not
at
in
people,
a comparison way.
I know
like
what you mean, but I'm just like,
Yeah.
I see other people having fun, and I'm like, that is so great.
So you don't ever like, okay, because like you said, you most weekends you're like, yeah, I'm not doing anything. So like, obviously you choose to do that.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm trying to get out of you is, when you see other people who are not choosing that, does it ever make you want to choose something different?
And then, like, not choosing to be in the house?
Yeah.
No.
Really?
No, I don't.
You don't get like FOMO?
No.
Wow. Sometimes I get FOMO. Like, if they've invited me somewhere and I like choose to not go, and then I see it's a good time, I'm like, damn, I should have went out.
The only time I really get FOMO is like, I don't know, like maybe like concerts.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
That's
can see
the only
that.
time I like, if I don't go to a concert that I probably should have gone to. It's like, you know.
Recently, my best friend showed me his credit score, and I was just like, that's where I need to spend my 30s. Like,
but see, that's like a healthy aspiration. That's like, you're not comparing yourself. It's just like, I would like to have.
I mean, mine isn't bad, but like seeing his, I was just like so embarrassed.
Mine is like better than I thought it was. So.
Look at that, 29.
And I don't even actively work on my credit. It's just, you know, all the dumb shit I did in my early 20s is falling off the report now. So that score is going up. But on that note, like, what are some dumbass things that you did in your early 20s that you might not do again if you had the chance to spin the block?
I love that we're keeping that word with me. All right, I don't want to be like a goody two shoes here.
Your 20s were perfect.
But I have to give, they weren't perfect. As far as like doing dumb things, I think the only thing that I did that was dumb was I spent my early 20s trying to find the one and making relationships work that didn't work. I think really that's the only thing that I did.
You hear that? You 20-something, stop getting married at 21.
Yeah, you shouldn't be washing someone else's clothes. You shouldn't be washing someone else's dishes. Like, I had no business doing those things when I was 22 years old. Like, that was just crazy to me.
Insane. You're literally still a teenager at 22.
I was taking care of myself and someone else. Like, that is fucking bananas. I would never do that again. But recently, I don't know if I want to share this, but I'm going to share it anyway. because I've been very responsible, I feel like for the most part throughout my 20s, I decided to really be irresponsible. And when I went on vacation for my birthday this year, you already know the story. When I went on vacation for my birthday this year, there was like a hiccup with like the rent, whatever, and the landlord was just like, you always pay your rent on time. You could just pay it when you get back. Like I trust you. Yeah. And so I was like, okay. And so,
wrong roof.
I already had like money out there, like that we were spending, and like I spent the money. But I also like, it wasn't like I spent it and I finished it and I didn't have any more money. I like purposely was like, well, I have my rent money here, so like I could do this and I could do that. And so I spent my rent money out there, not realizing that 10 days later I'd have to pay rent again, which was fine, but it also was not something that I was expecting. And so I think that it was fun in the sense of like,
You weren't expecting it, even though rent is due on the same day every month.
I mean, it just didn't click in my head because I allowed myself to be irresponsible. Like, and the only thing I was thinking about was what I wanted in that moment, which I think a lot happens in our early 20s and throughout our 20s, which is like
instant gratification.
Yeah, instant gratification. And so my mind was just set on like, well, shit, I got all this extra money now. Now we're going to get a bottle and we get in bottle service and we get in this. Like, it was very much so like that. So that's it.
That was like your big hurrah to end 29.
That was my big hurrah to end. Bitch, I see what you did there. It was my token. I felt like I needed to have a good story.
Yeah.
So that's mine. What about you?
Credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, credit is like the biggest thing I wish I had cared more about in my early 20s. Because like some people just didn't get their money back. And you're never gonna see it. You might as well pry it from
that's
my cold dead
dropping
paws.
off. They're just like, we might as well just.
Oh, well, when there's one thing that specifically happened when I was like 21. I was like, I can't wait till I turn 28. That's gonna fall right off of there.
Damn.
It's like little stuff like that. It's like, and they don't teach you about credit and stuff. Like, my parents didn't teach me about credit and stuff, and I'm sure their credit's fucking trash. Yeah. As it can be if you're dead, but
it's in the ground.
Literally. So like I didn't have, and not that it's their fault, because once you become an adult, it's like, okay, now it's time to equip yourself. But
yeah,
credit is definitely one thing. And again, it's just like the lack of being more dumb because I'm in my early 20s. Like I felt like, kind of like what you were saying, like you were taking care of yourself and another man. I felt like I had to be a very responsible adult and I had to do everything right aside from credit. Like when I was in my early 20s, like I got my first place and I just was like, you always have to have your own place, always have to have your own car, always have to have a job, never ask anybody for any help under any circumstances. And that's how
we've unpacked that in other episodes, by the way. So,
and just that's how I lived my 20s, and I think to my detriment at some points, because it's like now I've built up such a thing. It's kind of hard to let go of.
Do you think that's going to change in your 30s?
Probably not.
Maybe it might be. We'll be easier here for part 2 for sure.
It might be easier to like accept and like ask for help, but no.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see that change for me. Is there anything going into your 30s that you're looking forward to? Well, first of all, is there anything that you're looking forward to, like ending 29? Is there anything else that you want to do that you think you need to cross before you get to 20? Before you get to 30?
It's a deep question. Jeez, you might have to like chop this because
you don't know. I mean, it's okay to not know too.
I know that I really wanted I really wanted 29 to feel big, and I'm realizing that it's not so much what I do, it's how I feel. And I think that's something that I learned like throughout the 20s. I always used to feel like this needs to be big and this to be big. We talked about the relocation thing, and I mentioned to you like if I spent my 30th birthday with someone specific and we did the bare minimum, that would feel fulfilling. That would feel big. And so like even this year, like I remember going into 2024, my mind was like, we're going to have a big year. We're going to make sure that we end our 20s with a pow. It did 5 Nicki shows and then went and did this big birthday trip and like did this stuff. And like I went to be with someone that I like and, you know, all that stuff. And like I'm sitting here right now and you're asking me this question and I feel like
you kind of did it. You checked it off.
It's not that I checked it off. I'm just feeling like I still have that itch, which lets me know like it's not about how big I do something. It's about like how I feel. So I think it's more about like, I think what I want to end this year with is spending more time with people that I care about, more people that I love, and just like making those memories. Not so much. I think it's fun to do the dope shit,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think it needs to be big. Like, this is sidebar, but I'm gonna throw this in here. One of my friends was going on a business trip in Malibu. And so the question that I had was like, oh, are you going to be with any friends? He's like, I'm staying in a $50 million mansion. And I was like, okay, what does that have to do with the question I just asked you? And he was just like, oh, well, no, yeah, no, I don't know these people. And like, I kind of just like thought to myself, like, ew. Like, I don't want to be like, it wasn't judgmental or like on their behalf, but I was very much like, I don't want to be that person. Like, I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be so disassociated from like life that my mind is like on that. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be around people who, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we can shoot the shits and we can go up to Beverly Hills and do whatever. But like at the end of the day, we can go to the barbecue and we can have a conversation.
Yeah.
That was a long-winded answer. I'm sorry. And I'm looking forward to in my 30s. I'm just looking forward to being more responsible and like being like, you're 30, you can do this.
I have nothing that I want to do specifically besides my birthday trip. Other than that, I really just want to like work on my mental a lot more. Like we talk about Saturn's return a lot.
Does that mean on your own though? Real quick, like
yes,
no therapy.
Well,
that's why I said it.
It's an option.
It's a requirement.
Well, I can do it. I just have to do it on my own time.
Requirement.
But it's a lot of things that like that is drudging up. I don't know if that's a word. Dredging up. Turning 29, turning 30. That like I'm realizing like I'm analyzing everything. Like any little thing that happens now, I'm like, why is this making me feel this way? Why is this happening to me like right now? And how can I pivot? And like, I'm having a lot more of those moments. And so I want to make sure that I'm like becoming more clearer the older I get, because for me, I just kind of like go through life just like going day by day and not really like stopping to like smell the roses and analyze like what's happening around me. I'm never really present. I'm always like thinking like ahead all the time. Like
survival mode.
Yeah, it's just like what's next? I'm never like just like in the moment for anything. I want to focus more on that, and I have good friends. I don't really like aspire to have more friends, but if they come, I'm open to that. Like,
yeah, look, he sounds so excited to have you guys in the future.
You know, so I mean, yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about 29. Do you have any advice for your younger self?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Like I want to beat younger self up a little bit, but at the same time, give him a hug.
Yeah.
I think I should have been nicer to myself.
For sure.
I should have given myself more credit for a lot of the things that I've done. I think I should have been more, not impressed, but I think, I don't know what word I would use. Impressed just feels too like egotistical. Like I just feel like more like okay to give myself a hug for some of the things that I've done. Again, emphasis on the relationship piece. I don't feel like I wasted any time, but I do feel like when I separated from the last relationship, we were together for 3 years, and I said I'm gonna be single for 3 years because that's as long. Like I wanted to give myself every year that I, not wasted, but every year that I gave, I wanted to give back, and now here we are 5 years later, and I don't feel like I don't regret it. Like meaning like I don't feel like, oh, I wish I had more time, but I do wish that I would have spent more time like that doing those things versus spending time pouring into other people.
Mm-hmm. I would tell my younger self to calm the fuck down.
That's so surprising. You really do hide everything. You've never given anxious. You've never given like that shit was going down. Like you've never had that. Like I feel like because I'm so expressive with you, I feel like you would know. Even if I didn't tell you, I feel like my behavior would give it away. Versus you, like you're so straight faced. You're so like like silently dying inside. Like that meme is about you.
I haven't seen that one, but probably.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I would tell myself to calm the fuck down. Just like over stressed, over emotional about stuff that in hindsight doesn't matter as much. And it may have shaped who I am now, but like some stuff I let control me a little bit when I was younger, for sure. In dating and family situations, just like everything, work. I would tell myself to calm the fuck down, and I will also tell myself that it's okay to like let loose a little bit.
You know what? I give myself the same advice, but I didn't trust myself at that age. Honestly, I think that's why I've become a little bit more sexually active as I've gotten older, because I trust myself to make certain decisions. And like having a hard no for something, like, are not being like persuaded to go into a certain situation or meet, you know what I mean? Like I just have a little bit more trust in keeping myself safe in those type of environments versus before when I was younger, I was just really afraid, but it wasn't because I didn't want to do anything. Yeah. It's just because I wasn't like
definitely trusting. Like a lot of fear like kept me from doing certain stuff too. Yeah. And not just sexually. Well, sexually I had a lot of fears, but
fear can be good sometimes. I think it's not, you don't always have to lean into your fear, but I think it's not a good thing if it consumes you and takes away like from some of those opportunities that you may have had. Yeah. I think for me, obviously we talked a little bit about, by this point, you guys have watched the grief episode. For me, it was always like fear of missing an opportunity because of that. So I always had to, like any opportunity I had to take advantage of it. Like, I don't think that there was anything that I really sort of passed up in that sense.
I think too, what I would tell my younger self is to like, I would have left Chicago earlier. We talked about like how my nephew was like going off to college and like, I would have done that for real.
That's fair.
Yeah.
In that regard, I think I would have left the country first then instead of going to Arizona. Because I think about how established I would have been having 3 years in another country versus 3 years just in another state.
Do you think that you missed out on something in your 20s? Like we talked about the regrets and like things we talked, but like, is there something you missed that you like maybe see other people have done or like experienced?
No.
For me, it's like maybe like some career opportunities I probably missed.
I don't even know if you want to get for real, if you want to cut the cameras right now, because I'm about to give it to you.
Go ahead, sister girl.
Do you remember when you told me one time when I asked you about that certificate or whatever it was?
Fuck that certificate.
You see what I'm saying? Listen.
That's not my dream. Like, I don't want a certificate in that because I don't want to do it.
Okay, but this is... Actually, I'm going to give people advice watching this.
Okay.
Because this is what I've learned, okay? And I'm not like the guru, but I know a few things because I'm old. Aged up.
Okay. See how so, 40 and slip, girl.
Even if you are not doing what you're passionate about, it's going to fuel you and it's going to push you to do and give 100% of what you want to do. So the goal that I was trying to achieve with you wasn't to get you to be in a field that you weren't passionate about and grow in it. The goal was to get you to be in a field where you could make more money to then put towards things that you want to actually do. Mm-hmm. And he refused. Mm-hmm. I even offered an opportunity for him to move out here and
you want me to move out here with no black people
and work with a specific
and no shade.
Work with a very prolific A-list family, which I won't say the name of. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You guys know who they are. You guys probably follow all of them girls. And he was like, nope, I don't want to work for those people. And I'm like, you can make over 80K a year doing this. And he was just like, nope. So I'm curious to know.
I don't value money the same way.
But
so the shiny 80K was not a thing for me. Like, oh, I can work for this family, make 80K. It's like,
well, he wasn't going to be working for the family. There was just projects that he'd be involved in. But I'm curious to know, because now you're saying that you feel like in your early 20s that you've missed out on opportunities. Would you consider that opportunity that I presented with you a missed one?
No.
And what? Okay, so then differentiate with the two of those things.
In terms of like missed opportunities career wise, I just feel like I could have applied myself more in areas that I actually do care about, and I could have like used that as leverage.
Like,
for instance, like graphic design, right?
Mm-hmm. Graphic design is my passion. The re-up cover.
Let's not go the wrong road. They gonna get you for that one. Like I had done really well in that class. I had won a couple competitions,
mm-hmm.
and I was really being set up by my teachers to like go to school and do this type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like sometimes I look back at that and I'm like, you know, graphic design is like something that some people are gonna always need. And so like I could have done that and like built myself up that way and like, you know, leveraged the funds to do what the fuck I really want to do. But the problem is I didn't know what I really wanted to do until I was like 25, 26.
Yeah, and you know, that's why I keep emphasizing that sometimes you have to do something that you don't like in order to push you to do the things that you actually want to do.
I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree.
And it's not too late.
It's never too late.
I have a dream that, and I know that I'm not fully present. And so like, I know that that's not what I really want to do at this moment. But I have a dream that eventually I'm going to move to Puerto Rico and I will study marine biology and I'll dive every day. And I'll probably, I don't know, host tours or do some shit like that. And have my own boat. Start doing
that now, because that's a lot of schooling.
Because I'm not in a rush. And it's Puerto Rico. You don't really need to be a marine biologist, okay? Black market. But the point is that it's not too late. It's just something that I'm like focused here because I know like that even though this isn't what I want to do, I know that there's a purpose for me that I need to fulfill and continue to work in this capacity.
Mm-hmm. I wish I had more of that mindset though. Like just, I mean, having like, you know, jobs, and I've been doing this job that I have now for like 6 years and it's fine. And I could, you know, work my way up, but it's like, I have the same thought with it, like dating. It's like, do I really want to though?
You know what? I'm gonna say something, and I don't mean it in a bad way.
I don't care, girl. You can say whatever.
Is the mic on? It sounds like the most dangerous word in the world.
What?
Starts with a C.
Cunt?
No, I mean that's a bad word too, but no. Comfortable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what it is.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm not comfortable either.
No,
but I'm
you're not
too comfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not to the point where it's like when you're sitting down, you're like, oh, I'm a little uncomfortable, but I don't want to move. Yeah. Like that's where you're at, but you're not to the point where I need to get up. That goes back to me saying you have to do things that you don't like, because if you are uncomfortable enough, it will then push you to where you need to be.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad you didn't use complacent, because I don't feel complacent yet.
No, I don't think
I've ever.
I don't think that you're complacent because you're still focused on creative endeavors. If you weren't and you were just doing this and like I'm miserable, then I would say okay, you're complacent.
Mm-hmm.
But you're just choosing to fight the power and be like this woke fuck capitalism and fuck that family and I don't want their 80K.
You know,
you're too much there.
We did get to talk about this, but I really feel like the world is so fake and set up to be so fake and phony that we've all been conditioned to just like do fake and phony shit that we don't want to do.
Yeah,
you know?
but you have to play the game, and there's no way. And you keep thinking that if you don't play the game, you're gonna get there, and it doesn't.
Because in my brain is like, this shit is so fake. Like, I can't wait for it to be over. It's never gonna be fucking over.
No,
you just have to keep living the world that they've built for us.
The founding fathers, yes.
And fuck them. This is the last episode. I'm ready to fight.
I know. I'm like, it might be all the alcohol he's been drinking since we woke up. Well, since he woke me up at 10 a.m.
I didn't talk about you eating Takis at 7 a.m.
They weren't fucking Takis, bitch, and I wasn't saying they were yesterday. It was hot chips.
Do you have any other like things that you would like to accomplish, even like
before I end my 20s?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have that much time if you put it in that perspective, but accomplish. What is an accomplishment to you?
Something like a goal that you set that you like checked off.
Okay. Yes. 2 things actually. Well, maybe 3. I'm at a point now where I can operate in a director level, so I think I really want to make that come to fruition.
Mm-hmm. That's a big man job.
I mean, if we want to get into titles, I've already been there, but they don't want to. Mm-hmm. So that I have a few travel goals still, not anything like I think that needs to be done this year, but I definitely do. I feel like I want to visit Puerto Rico this year, and I also want to go to Europe this year. And I haven't decided which one, because like if I go to Puerto Rico, I got some old and new hoes that I'm trying to meet out there.
Okay.
If I go to Europe, they're all new, so I'm like, like excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to do it before I turn 30, because then it's like when I'm out there and I'm like, oh, I'm 30. It's not the same thing. It's like twin. Like
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it really just comes down to that, like a little bit of work and like maybe a little bit of travel.
I think going back to the relocation episode, I think I'm gonna put more thought into moving.
Okay.
I don't have the urge to leave Houston. Like, there's nothing in me that's like has a fire in me to go. But
maybe that's a good thing though.
Yeah, but when you say comfortable, it's like I'm comfortable there, so it's kind of like, all right, what's next?
Yeah, make yourself uncomfortable.
Yeah, I kind of need to like see what else is going on to like make myself move in a different direction. I think that's the main thing.
Go for it.
Yeah,
I support you.
Well, do you have any advice for anybody turning like 29? Like maybe they're 28 and they have something to look forward to. Like, what would you give to people in their early to mid 20s about this end of the decade?
The only time that I ever really struggled with my age was when I turned 26, which now looking back in hindsight, I'm like, you were mentally unwell. Yeah. 26 was a fucking roller coaster for me.
Same.
Like mentally though, like I felt like that was the first time I lost who I was. Like I didn't know if I should act it. I felt like, I'm in my mid 20s now. Like I should be more mature, but I don't feel mature. Like I was questioning myself all the time. I was so like just confused. So I would just say, and I mean, that was when I gained all that unhealthy weight. And I just didn't know what to do. But then also like I was in the process, I was thinking about relocating and I was looking for a job. And like, I think, I don't know. The only advice I could say is just be patient and just go with the flow. As long as you're doing something, you're doing something. It's when you're not doing something that you should be worried about. Even if you don't love what you're doing, like if you're working, and I don't mean this in a shady way, but like if you're working at like McDonald's and you're working on something else, if you want to be like a nail tech and you're doing your friend's nails on, like you're doing something, like that's progress. Yeah. But if you're only working at McDonald's and you're thinking about how much you want to do nails and you're not doing anything about it, then you need to do something.
That's really solid advice. Because for the longest, in my early 20s, I wanted to do more creative stuff and I just wouldn't. And until I finally dragged myself to like start my first podcast, I'm like, okay, now let's get the ball rolling. That's definitely the main thing I would say to people in like their early 20s is to just every day is like you can do something to like build up towards it. I know like when you're younger, you think like, oh, I'm running out of time. I got to do this like now. But if you do baby steps every day, by the time you get to a certain point, you will get to the point that you're trying to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very rich advice coming from me, because sometimes like I'm gonna quit everything every day. Like I'm gonna give up.
I was gonna say, I don't think that ever goes away.
That never goes away.
Yeah, I wake up sometimes and I'm like, oh my God, I have to figure out my whole life
Yeah.
and fix it all within the next 20 minutes. Otherwise, you're gonna fail.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
then I always come back to, girl, calm the fuck down. It's
You
never
usually
that
are
deep.
the one who tells me that, because then I'm freaking out and then I'll call you and you'll just be like,
You know, and you know what?
Yeah.
People who give good advice don't always follow it.
I follow all the advice I've been giving, so I don't know.
Everybody's not like that. You know, coaches coach because sometimes they can't play.
That's deep.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like you're capable of playing, though. You just psych yourself out.
definitely a lot of self-sabotage. Stop doing that.
Yeah, don't do that anymore.
As I tell you, I'll figure it out myself, but you don't do it.
Yeah. You know what I've actually learned? I've learned a lot about you throughout this whole season.
Do you like me more or less?
I like you. Should I be honest?
Yeah.
Or should I like sugarcoat it? I like you the same.
Okay.
I don't like you less. What was the option? Was it more or less?
More or less, because there's no black and white. I mean, there's no gray. It's black or white.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, well, if I have to choose from those two, then I'd say I'd like you more because I don't like you less.
Okay.
I think I just realized so much about you that I was surprised that you were so open about sharing on here. Let's see if it makes the cut.
I'm not cutting much of anything out, to be honest.
I think what surprised me the most about you is that you're very self-aware.
Yeah, I am.
But you take zero action. Like that is what actually is very interesting
true.
about you. Like there's nothing that I feel like we could tell you
that I don't already
that
tell
you
myself.
don't already tell yourself,
And
or
I
that you already know.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you get someone then to do it? And you're just like, I'm just not going to do it. And I know it's going to give me this result. And I know I'm going to be more sad, but I'm still going to choose this.
It's true.
If there was actually, I want you to give me a wish for me as we go into our 30s. My wish for you going into your 30s is that you find peace with being confident and trust in yourself, because you are sleeping on so much potential. Like, I think being self-aware is like, not everybody has that. And that's something you can't teach. So I think the fact that you already have all the solutions to your problems and you just are choosing to actively look in the other direction, I think your 30s probably will be the best years for you because of that.
Is active avoidance like a thing? Because I feel like I just thought of that term. And I've never heard of that.
It probably is.
That's probably what I am, an active avoider.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hope that you are able to, in your 30s, look at this as that blank canvas that I've been talking about and just paint your life the way that you want it. And even if there isn't an example, even if people are looking up to you and you don't necessarily know it and they don't want to give you your props, it's clear to see they want to be you, hit the road, ASU. But the point is that, yeah,
that's you catching strays.
That's my hope for you, is just owning everything that you are. Everything that you showed here, just owning it, but owning it in the sense of like, you know what you're doing. There's so many people who are like lost in life. I don't think that you're lost. I think you don't trust the map that you've built. It's like you're holding, they're like, well, I don't think this is going to get us here, so we might as well just wait here because I'm not going to waste my energy walking over there and then there's nothing. Like, it's almost like you're setting yourself up to be disappointed instead of going to the destination and being excited for anything that you find.
Sounds like I need therapy.
Sounds
like I need therapy.
Well, and I also wish you go to therapy then. There you go.
Okay, my wish for you, that's kind of hard because I feel like you are one of my friends who like has it all together in my eyes.
Ooh.
And I know that
so
that's
scary to hear.
I know that that's not like always the truth, because nobody always has it all together. But you kind of just have it. You have a good career. You have like, and even though you tell me like the bad stuff that happens, I be like, and I always tell you like, you're so dramatic because like you really have like no problems, even though I know you do. But you like,
do you hear the way he speaks to me?
It's like, I know you have problems, but like the way I see you is like, you're like a model citizen.
Oh Lord.
For real. So my wish for you is just like,
fuck it all up.
Just keep building more and more.
Keep building more.
And
okay.
Stop being so afraid to get older. It's not a dirty word. It's not a dirty thing. If you're lucky enough to live to see past 75, 80, it's a good thing.
It's a blessing.
Yeah. And
I like that.
And don't.
That's very genuine of you, because I don't think that I have everything together. And if anyone knows all of the bad stuff, it's Freddie, because I will not keep anything from him. Like the minute the smallest inconvenience comes up, I'm like calling him, and he's just like, "Girl, this is what you call me for." But okay, I'll take it. But I don't have everything together. Actually, I think that's one of the biggest. Actually, I want to know a misconception that people have of you now, because I think that's a really big. I get that often. I get that all the time. Everyone's like, "You have it to like." To me, I feel like most of the time I don't know what I'm doing. I just think that I'm always active. So I think that's really what it comes down to. Because, I mean, I told you I hate where I live. Yeah. But, like, I'm still doing something. I think that's what it comes down to. You just have to keep going. So I think that's what people make it seem like, oh, you have it together because you know what you're doing. And then I look at my friends who have a Porsche, a Corvette, a fucking G-Wagon in their garage, and a $750,000 house with a pool. And I'm like, oh, how did you do this? I want to get here. How did you do it? And then they tell me everything that they did in their 20s, and I'm like, oh, so I shouldn't have traveled. I should have invested my money. Got it.
We're kind of saying the same thing to each other, because people seem to think that I'm like wrapped tightly. It's a lot of loose nuts in here, you know?
They're not, though. I think
I'm aware that a lot of them are loose.
You have a strong poker face. So I think it's easy for people to think like nothing affects you, or it's easy to brush off for you, when really you're just you're putting it into your internal bank. Yeah.
But that's pretty much the biggest thing people say is like, but besides that too, like people think I'm like mean and standoffish. And we talked about that, but that's just because I'm quiet. Yeah. Yeah. But those are like,
that'll change. Things. Like I want to see one day, like my dream is like to go to like a party and see you like being like the life of the party.
Okay. Interesting.
Like talking, joking, like
I'm like that with family and friends though.
I know that you are. That's why I said my dream is for like other people to see that.
Okay. Is that something you want?
I don't think it's something that you need, but I think
Is that something you want to see?
Oh, for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, you'll never do it. I was setting you up for that.
You know what?
Well, this has been fun. Thank you for joining me on these
Thank you.
episodes.
This was such a long anticipated day. I mean, year of us doing this. And it kind of feels like, if I'm going to be honest with you, it doesn't feel rinky-dink, but it feels like we gave it what it needs to give.
Yeah. Yeah. And we might give it more, we might not.
Maybe.
But for now, this is the end. Thank you guys for joining us on Something in Common. Please remember to share this with people. There's a lot of gems in here. I mean, I don't think we were really dropping gems, but like the stuff that we shared, I know a lot of people can relate to, because these are the conversations I have with my other friends. But
we weren't giving. I try to think about the things that we talked about from an outside perspective. Like if I was listening to this, I think sometimes it just feels good to be able to see yourself in someone else, or to even get a thought-provoking conversation going with yourself or other people that you know.
And that's the purpose of this podcast.
Exactly.
So thank you guys for joining us, and we will maybe or maybe not see y'all, but bye.
Bye. Or just rewind it.
Yeah, and it's good stuff.
I love how we struggle to say goodbye.
Okay, all right. Bye. Okay, bye.